Greetings everyone. So today I'm going to continue working on the Versetta Stone. I have one more column base to finish in the back of the house, and there wasn't quite enough work to keep Mark around, but I do appreciate all the help he gave me putting up the stone that we've done so far. I could have kept him on, but we ran out of the corner pieces for the Versetta Stone, and I'll show you what happened. I didn't calculate on doing this certain detail with corners, and so it used up, I had to order like 30 more corner pieces to finish the job. And I'll show you I guess, you know, if you want to call it a mistake that I did right here. So when we put the rock around the slider here, we thought it would be a good idea to have the corner edges so you didn't just see a flat cut up against the sliding door. And so we used the corner pieces there so you get kind of that rough rock look. But you know, when we got to the top, then we realized we had to straight cut the ridge, so you're going to see the flat part there. And the same thing on the window. We ended up with the flat cut, and that is where I burned up a lot of the corners. Figure there's probably 12 rows or so of corners on each side that I ended up burning up. So I think that's what kind of made me come up short on the columns in front. And I'll go out there and show you where we got to at that point. Here are the columns for the portico shear where I needed those corner pieces of the Versetta Stone. I came up 5 rows short on this column and then one piece on the side there. And there's 2 rows that were short. I have plenty of the what they call the flats, or like the straight pieces. I just needed the corners to finish this. But all in all, I think it just looks amazing, and I can't wait till I can finish that. The corners are due in about a week. So here are the column bases on the outdoor living for the in-law unit. I need to come back and actually scrub them, because you can see a lot of the cement water that got on them when we were cutting them, especially that top row, because we had to cut the tops off of the stones to get it the right height for the column pier caps that I'm going to put on eventually. So those are all done, and we'll go around to the back. There is one of the columns in the back outdoor living that Mark and I were able to finish. And there is today's project that I'm going to work on, this column over here. At the end of the day, yesterday, we were only able to get it, the bottom J channel put in, the paper on, and we got 1 row started. So I'm going to go ahead and try to finish this column up today. So I was able to get the first row in and all level, and I'm going to start on the second row. And what I've been doing is I've been putting the first piece up, the first corner, and I just left it long. It's actually going to get cut on that line there. I left it a little long just so I can get a good measurement on lining up this corner and getting a nice seam on that side. So it looks like I got a good lines there, so I'm going to go with that, and then we'll move around and work on the electrical outlet cutout. So on the side with the electrical plug, the first thing I want to do was make sure that corner piece is square, and then I needed 18 1/4 to come over to this side. So I cut that piece. The part that's going against the corner was the cut side, And the part that is going to end up right on my break point is the painted end of the flat. And I knocked off the little flange or wing or whatever you want to call it that the flats have on it. So now I'm just going to measure over, get my box measurements, so I'll need to cut a U shape out of this next piece so it will fit under the electrical box. All right, so let's get this marked out. So from the corner, I'm going to go 12 and a 16th. We'll mark that. And the other side is 14 and 15/16. Is right there. And then my last measurement would be underneath. I'm going to go with 4 3/4 up from the bottom. So that is going to break right in the middle of this one. It's actually going to break right in the middle of this rock, which is, I'll give it a try. Hopefully that bottom part doesn't chip off. Ideally, I'd want to pick a better flat, which maybe had a small rock up on the top and a larger one in the middle. But we'll give this a try. If I'm really careful, I'll be able to leave that like 3/8 of an inch of this little rock right here. So on these critical cuts like this, rather than using a pencil, which typically gets washed away by the water from the cut saw, we started using an awl or scratch awl to actually score the face of the rock, because that's a lot easier to see when the water is running over the top of the stone itself. So I'll go ahead and get this scratched in and cut out, and I'll bring you back afterwards. So what I ended up doing was just cutting a bunch of slots down to my line. And the nice thing about that saw, I can tip it up. So when I cut down to this point, I get almost a flat line across the bottom, you know, where the front and the back is at the same length. So now I'm just going to break these out, and then I'll smooth it out with an oscillating saw that has it's got like a triangular blade on it that is for like cutting out the grout on tile, but it works good on smoothing out these rough edges where I'm going to knock out these little pieces. So one of the other things that I found was I tried to taper the cut downward from front to back, because this piece has to roll in under that plug. And so if the back is a little lower than the front, it'll allow you to roll that right into place. So let's go see how we did. All right, here we go. Let's see, where am I hitting? Oh, I think I'm hitting on the bottom. Yeah, the sides look good. I'm gonna take the oscillating saw and take a little bit more off the back to get that taper towards the rear going some more. And I may need just a hair off the front too, but definitely off the back. All right, let's see if that did it. Oh yeah. Look at that. bring you around so you can see the front. So there you go. That's pretty close there, and especially once I put the cover box on there, it's just a touch wider than the box, this extension box that I have, and so that'll be a nice. Those will be nice tight lines. All right, let's keep going. So after all of that hard work getting a nice cut around that plug, I just realized there was a problem when they formed up this section of stone. The groove doesn't go all the way through to the end. So when I stack the next piece on the top, it'll be holding it up a 1/4 inch off this one. So because this got filled up with cement somehow at the factory. So I think I'm just going to take that oscillating saw and see if I can't groove this out to match the rest of the form. All right, that looked like it worked. So I'll continue around and I'll bring you back when I get to the piece where I need to cut over the top of the electrical outlet. All right, so I've made it back around to the plug, and this piece is going to be probably a little less challenging because I have this nice big rock formation to cut my notch out of. So since I can set this on top, I'm just going to mark it with a pencil where I need to cut, and then 2 inches, looks like 2 inches up. So I can remember that. I won't have to mark it. All right, let's go over and scribe it with the scratch awl. All right, let's see how we did. I think that looks pretty sporty. So I got to the top row and I trimmed my stone to 7 7/16, which I needed to be flush with the top there. And there's no way to connect this stone because obviously the flange got cut off. And what I've seen some people do is use construction adhesive on the back of this and then push it into place with the construction adhesive. Well, that's all fine and dandy. Construction adhesive is strong, but if you have tar paper behind your rock like I do, and I've seen people do this with the construction adhesive, your stone is only being held on by that tar paper with staples. So what I came up with is I got these deck screws in gray. I'm not sure you can see it. Let me see, put on the red there. It's got kind of a smaller head on the screw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill through one of these grout lines. And when that screw goes in there, you'll be hard pressed to see the head of that screw. And now I have a positive connection to the plywood underneath. All right, so now that screw is hidden in that little grout line, and it is not, that stone's not coming off the wall. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of the top, and I'll bring you back for the conclusion. All right, there is the finished product on the column base that I did today. I still have the chimney, and I need to finish the 2 columns in front for the porte cochere once I get some more of the corner pieces in. And then lastly, I'm going to order some pier caps that Versetta Stone makes. And they're 22 by 22, and I think I can cut them to notch around the posts. And I think that'll finish these off nicely. So the next video will probably be finishing up the columns in front, and hopefully I will have the pier caps in about the same time. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.